Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai b'neilim, Adonai kavod ba'oz, Adonai kevod shemo yishtachavu Adonai be'avrat kodesh Adonai Adamayim el hakavod yirim Adonai Adamayim Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai b'hadar, Kol Adonai shomer arasim, v'yishaber Adonai et arzei Lebanon v'yarki et Mo'eged Lebanon v'Sirion. Kemo be'edemim, Kemo be'edemim. Kol Adonai chotzer lavutesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kodesh, Kol Adonai yechol layalot, Vayech ye'esov ye'aron, Ve'chalom lo merkavot, Adonai lamabul yashar, Vayeshev Adonai le'olam, Adonai or le'amo yitem, Adonai yevarech et amo All right, sounding good, everybody. We're going to continue with Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, here we go. A variety of Lecha Dodis. Lecha Dodi likrat kara, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kara, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha, ish minyan u'elamecha, Adonai echad shemo echad, Hashem u'tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem neslucha, sov maaser macha Shabbat tchila, lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Third paragraph, we begin Mikdash Melech. עיר מלוכה, מקדש מלך, עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט במקבכה, והוא יחבול עלייך אלה. לך, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Top of the page. We awake, we arise from the dust, we dress ourselves in the people's pride. Al yad ben Yishai ben alachmi korvai al nafshi ge'ala. He itna'ari me'afar kumi. Libishi bigdei tifartechani. Al yad ben Yishai bet alachmi korvai al nafshi ge'ala. Lecha dodi. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Ben Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekabela. Top of the page. Behayul nimshisa. Shosayich v'rachaku kol mevalayich yasisalayich Elohayich imsoscha tanar kala lechadodi likerat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likerat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela Yamin usmol tiferotzi be'et Adonai ta'aritzi yad ish ben farzi ben ismecha v'nagila lechadodi bikerat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi bikerat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. If you are inclined to do so, we rise as we welcome in the Shabbat Queen, the Shabbat Bride. When we say, come in shalom, come in peace, crown of your spouse, surrounded by gladness and joyous shouts. Come to the faithful, the people, your treasure with pride. Bo'i kala, come our bride. Come our Shabbat Queen, our Shabbat Bride. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula, bo'i kala, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla. One more time. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula, bo'i kala, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Feel free to sit down if you like. We sing, come let us sing a song for the Shabbat day, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Let us sing a song for Shabbat. Let us sing a song for Shabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Let us sing a song for Shabbat. Let us sing a song for Shabbat. La 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 la, ay la 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 la, la 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 la, ay la di di da, Mizmor Shir, Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Leyom HaShabbat. One more psalm of the Kabbalat Shabbat, of the welcoming of the Shabbat service, and then we'll transition into the Ma'ariv, the evening song, the evening service, the evening service. Just before that, we turn Psalm 93. Adonai Malach Yehud Lavesh Lavesh Adonai Oz Hitazar. God is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you were enthroned, you are eternal. At the red arrow, Mikolot Ma'im Rabim, above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time. Mikolot Ma'im Ma'im Rabim, Adirim Adirim, Mishpereyam, Mikolot Ma'im Ma'im Adirim, Adirim Mishpereyam, Mishpereyam. 4 lines from the bottom. Adir Bamarom Adonai, 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 Adir Bamarom Adonai. 3 lines from the bottom. Edotecha nemnu meod lebeitcha nava kodesh Adonai leorech yamim leorech yamim. Shabbat is definitely upon us, the Spirit. If there's anyone in mourning or observing a Yortzeit, we continue with Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadav yitkadash shemei rabbah be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lameh hamaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh Beitadar, Italev, Italao, Shemei, Bikudesha, Richu, Leila, Min Kol, Birchata, Veshirata, Dushbechata, Velechemata, Damiran, Be'alma, Vimru, Amen. Yehesh, Lama Rabba, Min Shemaya, Bechayim, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol, Yisrael, Vimru, Amen. Oseh, Shalom, Bimroma, Uyaseh, Shalom, Aleinu, V'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. We continue with the Ma'ariv. The Ma'ariv, a call to prayer with the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai Amevorach, Baruch Adonai Mevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Amevorach, Amevorach leolam va'ed. Amevorach, Amevorach leolam va'ed. Let's read together in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, ובתבונה משנה עיתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרבים. We sing Ahavat Olam. We thank God for giving us the Torah, and in this song describes our love and gratitude for giving us a life manual full of the 613 mitzvot, the commandments, but I much prefer thinking them as rather than commandments, privileges and opportunities. So we have hundreds of privileges and opportunities, and we thank God for all of those. Because they are our life and they are fullness of our days, and on them, the mitzvot, we meditate day and night. Do not ever withdraw your love from us. We praise you, God, who loves the people of Israel. Let's sing Debbie Friedman's Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot u'kimu mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shorbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki em hayenu ve'yorech yameinu uvahem neged yomam v'layla ve'avatecha tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Together, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. Just a moment of silent prayer. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We sing Mikamocha together, thanking God from redeeming us from Egypt. The Song of the Sea, the middle of the Az Yashir, the Song of the Sea, as we look back at Egypt and we put slavery behind us and we successfully crossed the splitting of the Red Sea. We say, who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praises, working wonders? Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora teilot osef ele, malchutecha ra'u b'necha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe zeli, anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועמד יברא קירותי וימלך מלכותי בחיי כל ויום כל ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן יש שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם מעלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה בשירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen. Just before our silent devotion, our silent prayer, the top line, a beautiful line, look at the meaning, and it has a pretty song, goes along with it, a Craig Talman melody. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open our lips, that our mouth may speak your praise. Adonai. Sefatai tiftach. Ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai. Sefatai tiftach. Ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'lei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham leYitzchak leYaakov leSarah leRivka leRachel leLeah ומביאו לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם פוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיים מתים אתה רב להושיע הוריד אתה מחכה חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך ממית ומחייב, ומצמיח ישוע ונאמנתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. We sing the bottom paragraph of the evening repetition of the Amidah. מגן אבות בדברו, מחיי מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו, כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, Me'on habrachot. 3 lines from the bottom. El ha'oda'ot Adon ha'shalom Mekadesh ha'shabbat U'marek shevi'im U'meniach b'kedusha Le'amedu shnei oneg Zecher le'maseh למעשה בראשית אלוהינו ולא אבותינו ואמותינו רצה במלכתנו קדשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך סבנו מטובך ושמחנו בישועתך ותאר ליבנו לעובדך באמת והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך וינוחו בישראל מקדשי שמך ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. We bring our Ma'ariv, our evening service, to a conclusion with Kaddish Shalem, the full, complete Kaddish. Yitkada v'kadash shemei Rabbah, ve'amad yivrak yirteh v'yamlik maputeh, ve'chayechon v'yamechon, v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv, ve'meru amen, yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam olam me'amaya, yitbarach. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה ברכו לעילמים כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ועלמה ואמרו אמן תתקבל צלותון ובאותון לכל ישראל קודם אבוהון דבשמיא אמרו אמן יהי שלום הרב משמיא חיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל אמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. Kiddush, if you have your own Kiddush cup and a luxurious beverage, preferably wine or grape juice. As we celebrate, we sanctify Shabbat, Yom Tov, the holidays, a bris, a wedding, an anniversary and birthdays with the beverage, the finest of beverages. Why wine? Because a lot of work and hard work and soul and sweat, time and patience goes into the development of the wine. So it is the beverage of kings and queens, royalty and majesty. So we use it to bring in our Shabbat and our Yom Tov and wonderful occasions to sanctify it. We raise our Kiddush cup. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodesho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Misraim. Everybody together. Kivanu v'acharta ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim, everyone. L'chaim. All right. L'chaim. Amen. We look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow and continuing the festivities and the joy. What? Words of Torah. You want some words of Torah? Okay, all right. There we go. You want some Torah? I'll give you some Torah. None. We're a small, intimate crowd tonight, but this is okay. We're going to be reading tomorrow's.
In your ad, it's opposite.
What? I didn't know if that was a question or not. It sounded like the dog had a question. So I never know. It's okay. All right. Excellent. Wonderful. Yes, the dog wants a Torah. We'll give some Torah. Here we go. Tomorrow we're reading Parashat Nitzavim. So there's only 4 more Torah portions left for the end of Devarim, the 5th and final book of the Torah, before we'll complete the end of the Torah scroll. And of course, after Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, Sukkot, we conclude with Simchas Torah, and we celebrate the event of completing the reading of the entire Torah throughout the full year, as it was divided out, weekly, each Shabbat and holidays. And then, of course, we do some holy rolling. We roll it all the way back to the beginning, and we read from the very, very beginning, bring it all the way back to Genesis, back to Bereshit. Start all over with creation of the world, and Noah, and Abraham, and Isaac, and Jacob, and Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, and all that good stuff, and all the tribes, and the brothers, and Joseph, and the Joseph and the Technicolor coat, and the rivalry, and the jealousy, and he winds up in second in line to the Pharaoh, and all you know the story. And the Passover story, the Pesach story, and then goes from there. But this is the case, the Devarim, these last four readings, these last 4 parshiot or sections of the Torah. The majority of Devarim, Deuteronomy, there's a lot of repetition, not just direct repetition, word for word, and then there's a reason for it, but some very close, some repetition, but usually whatever's repeated is enhanced. We might take something from the past and then add it on to. Now, first of all, there's a reason for the repetition. Moses is on his last few days, and he has taken, of course, Am Yisrael, the people, through 40 years to the desert, and he can see Israel from the top of the mountain, but he knows he's not going to be taking them in. He's going to pass the wand, he's going to pass the authority over to Joshua. Joshua's going to take them in. But this generation that Moses is talking to, these are not the same folks that were actually in Egypt. So, over the 40 years is a new generation. So it makes a lot of sense that there's a repeat, right? So all the folks that are on this last couple of days of the life of Moses, and his last final speech, his last final words, he's talking to some of them have never heard it the first time. So for some it's a repeat, but for many of them, this is the first time he's talking to these new folks, right? These new youths, new kids on the block. And so he's going over, of course, all the mitzvot, all the commandments, and don't steal and don't cheat and don't lie, and live a life of morals and ethics. But specifically, the end of tomorrow's Torah portion in Devarim, which is what we're in, it says choose life, because life is good, and life and good and goodness, and don't choose the opposite. Don't choose death, because death is bad. Now, in Leviticus, in the 3rd book, in Vayikra, the verse said, I set before you life, and I set before you death. Your choice. I mean, it seems the logical one. Choose life or choose death. What's interesting in particular is that in Leviticus, God says, I set before you the choice of life and death. Now, tomorrow we're going to be reading, they added 2 components. He says, choose life, which is good, or choose death, which is bad. So Tov and Ra. The good and bad wasn't mentioned when it talked about just choose life or don't choose life. So, of course, when we see something like this, and we look at our thousands of years of our history, of our commentaries and our great sages, you know, great minds are going to look at this. And part of the whole process of learning and studying and contemplating and saying, well, what did God mean by this? Or what could have God have meant by this? Let's try it this way, let's try it that way, all for the purpose of understanding multiple ways of seeing something and enjoying it in many way different avenues and directions. So our great sage Rashi, France, 11th century great commentator Rashi, he usually is pretty straightforward on almost everything. Not everything, but generally is a straight shooter, right? So pretty much he's looking at this, he's saying, choose life, which is good, or choose death, which is bad. Well, he's pretty much looking at this, and he's saying and explaining, you choose life, and it's going to be good, and you'd be good with long days, and you'll have long life. So that's the good part of life itself, but also a good long life. You choose death, and it's bad. All right, so it sounds pretty logical, pretty, that's so to speak. So comes along the great Rabbi Ibn Ezra. He takes it a whole step further. He says, choose life, right? And the good is health and wealth and happiness. Not just long life, but that would be fantastic. But it's life along with health, wealth, and happiness. Those components. That's the big difference between the added word tov of the good part, right? And the opposite, we can just do the opposite of that. God forbid, death. Death and no wealth, no health, and no happiness, because unfortunately we would be dead, right? And a third opinion comes along and says, because the question would be, well, wait a minute. Why would we choose death over life? It doesn't make sense. That's clearly, in other words, it's implying either choose to live or in essence, or take your life or allow yourself to, I don't know, to get killed or something. That doesn't make any sense. So comes along the third opinion and says that this doesn't make sense but after we thought about it, we said, no, yes and no. Here's how it's explained the third way. It's saying, there are unfortunately people that are physically alive. Their heart's pumping, the blood is flowing, and they might be alive physically, but unfortunately, it's as if they're walking. The life they're living is like a life of death, right? There's no substance, there's no joy, there's no happiness. I mean, it's like the story. Like sometimes there's a story. Like someone walked up to a friend of a friend. And he says, for 5 years ago, he's like, you, as far as you've been alive for the past 5 years, but it's as if you didn't even know it, because you've been acting like you're dead, but you don't even realize it. For 5 years, you've been acting this way. You're in a deep depression. You're sad. There's nothing about life with that at all. And the last component to this whole thing is explaining, yes, you can be alive physically, but you could be dead spiritually. And so therefore do the opposite. Make something beautiful happen out of this. That when you're alive, of course, length of days is fantastic. It would be wonderful. Of course, we all want length of days. But the emphasis on this third opinion is it's not about length of days. And it's, which was the first opinion. Rashi was like, life, good is length of days. And it's not Ibn Ezra's opinion. It's not length of days and health, wealth, and happiness, okay, which is fantastic and wonderful. But it might be health, wealth, and happiness, but it's the quality, it's the fullness of every single day. It may not be the length of days, it may not be a lot of days, but it's what you do with each and every individual day. It's the fullness of that day. It's what you make of every single hour, one day at a time. And while you're alive, and what you're doing with that time. Because if you're not fulfilling anything, and you're not contributing to society, and you're not making others happy, and they're making you happy, and you're not participating, and you're not doing mitzvot and doing good deeds and thinking good, you're walking and breathing, but it's as you are spiritually not here. And this is something to think about as we're looking forward to Rosh Hashanah and the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, the high holy days. The high holy days, as we start to reflect, we should have already started this the month of Elul 3 weeks ago. This Hebrew month of Elul, just preceding the new Tishrei, the new Jewish New Year. The calendar year is going to start all over. We're going to begin a brand new Jewish lunar calendar year. Elul is spelled Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed. There's a beautiful acrostic which it stands for Ani ledodi vedodi li. I and my beloveds, and my beloveds is mine. And that goes back to that concept of the relationship of that, not so much on the romance side, but on just the love side, more like a parent-child, that connection between God and God's people and God and God's children. That idea that this concept of preparing, of thinking about taking a whole month and preparing to go to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur services, to hope and to pray, and we hope to be inscribed B'Sefer Chaim in the Book of Life. We have a whole month to prepare to correct anything, but the beauty is that God is on our side. God wants us to succeed. So it's only for us to throw away and discard. It can be a beautiful thing. Anila Dodi, I and my beloveds, and my beloveds is mine. That base, that structure, that foundation is already set. The table is set. All you have to do is pretty much come to the table. Come with joy. Come with modesty. Come with humility. Come asking for all the al-khaits. Ask for forgiveness for the right reason. Make sure you don't repeat any wrongdoing. You learn from your mistakes. And it can be a wonderful thing. And so we're going to go. It was actually the rabbi of Chernobyl. The rabbi of Chernobyl is that third and final opinion of, yes, long life would be fantastic, but it's what you do with every single day. Our purpose here is to do good, to feel good, to be good, to participate in wonderful good things. And we should be, and with that, we'll be happy, healthy, and prosperous. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may that be God's will. And I pray and hope for each and every one of you to take this lesson and maximize the last few days between now and Rosh Hashanah to set things straight. If you know directly, possibly if you had hurt anyone or misspoke about somebody or any type of corrections you can do, that is the greatest way of showing of you really mean it and you mean to repent. You know, that's between people and people, mankind and mankind. If there's anything between you and God, of course, you need to work that out and fix that. But we look forward to a beautiful day tomorrow, services, and we look forward to a wonderful set of Chagim, of holidays, the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur together. Normally, if our commander-in-chief, if our president was here with us online, our fearless leader, Les Stern, is not here, but he did email me and ask me to speak on his behalf and welcome you to First Sons Congregations Israel. First Congregation, Sons of Israel. That's right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. And thank you, Rabbi Fox. Those were such meaningful, beautiful words. We're so glad you're with us. And we're excited. Please join us tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for Shabbat morning services in Nitzavim. We'll have some songs, some music, some Torah reading, some discussion, and some fun. And the same Zoom link as you used tonight will be tomorrow, and we also look forward to having you join us. Rabbi Fox will be back. Rabbi Fox will be leading us next Monday night for Erev Rosh Hashanah and day one, the first day of Rosh Hashanah. And the day two, I believe we have a different Rabbi Monica, not nope. Her name is anybody know? Anyone know watching? Mona Decker. Mona Decker, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm 99% sure. Rabbi Mona Decker, who has been leading services in the past, she will be leading the second day of Rosh Hashanah. Okay, got it. So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And without further ado, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. and Rosh Hashanah. First day, Rabbi Fox. Second day, Rabbi Mona Decker. And I pass it back to you. Oh, wait a minute. Did she leave? Where did she go? I think she did leave. All right, because we had, who was here? We had a board member. I'm wondering if she was hoping to do anyone there looking at was assigned to do the announcements? I don't think so. Okay. Renee. Renee, are you there? No? Okay. No worries, no problem. So with that, without further ado, Rabbi Fox, you'll bring us home. We're going to conclude. I'm like, thank you very much. We're going to conclude our service with the singing of Adon Olam. And so, well, we'll just sing it. Do I have it in the book? Do I have this? Sure. Oh, let's do Aleinu first. Aleinu and Adon Olam. Okay. Aleinu Mechabeach Ladon Hakol Letei שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אינו נעמד מלכנו אפס זולתו כך כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ובארץ מתחת עינו ממעל הארץ מתחת עינו ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. קדיש התם ומונרס קדש יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דיברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביום איכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. Let's conclude with Shalom Aleichem together. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ay Boachem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Amin Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruchu li l'shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Last line together. Seichem l'shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat Shalom to the Scheinkaufs and Gary and the Arroyos and Marjorie and Bob Schachter and the Karps and Robert Blau.
Good night, Rabbi.
Good night. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. We look forward to God willing. You're all welcome. Join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. And if not, we'll see you Monday night, Erev Rosh Hashanah.
Thank you.
Until then,
Thank you.
let us know. Good Shabbos, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom. Good night.